Confessions of St. Augustine. Although autobiographical narrative makes up much of the first 9 of the 13 books of Augustine's Confessiones, circa 400, Confessions, autobiography is incidental to the main purpose of the work. For Augustine, Confessions is a catch-all term for acts of religiously authorized speech, praise of God, blame of self, confession of faith. The book is a richly textured meditation by a middle-aged man. Augustine was in his early 40s when he wrote it, on the course and meaning of his own life. The dichotomy between past odyssey and present position of authority as bishop is emphasized in numerous ways in the book, not least in that what begins as a narrative of childhood ends with an extended and very churchy discussion of the book of Genesis. The progression is from the beginnings of a man's life to the beginnings of human society. Between those 2 points, the narrative of sin and redemption holds most readers' attention. Those who seek to find in it the memoirs of a great sinner are invariably disappointed, indeed often puzzled at the minutiae of failure that preoccupy the author. Of greater significance is the account of redemption. Augustine is especially influenced by the powerful intellectual preaching of the suave and diplomatic Bishop Saint Ambrose, who reconciles for him the attractions of the intellectual and social culture of antiquity, in which Augustine was brought up and of which he was a master, and the spiritual teachings of Christianity. The link between the two was Ambrose's exposition, and Augustine's reception, of a selection of the doctrines of Plato, as mediated in late antiquity by the school of Neoplatonism. Augustine heard Ambrose and read, in Latin translation, some of the exceedingly difficult works of Plotinus and Porphyry. He acquired from them an intellectual vision of the fall and rise of the soul of man, a vision he found confirmed in the reading of the Bible proposed by Ambrose. Religion for Augustine, however, was never merely a matter of the intellect. The 7th book of Confessions recounts a perfectly satisfactory intellectual conversion, but the extraordinary 8th book takes him one necessary step further. Augustine could not bring himself to seek the ritual purity of baptism without cleansing himself of the desires of the flesh to an extreme degree. For him, baptism required renunciation of sexuality in all its express manifestations. The narrative of Confessions shows Augustine forming the will to renounce sexuality through a reading of the letters of St. Paul. The decisive scene occurs in a garden in Milan, where a child's voice seems to bid Augustine to take up and read, whereupon he finds in Paul's writings the inspiration to adopt a life of chastity. The rest of Confessions is mainly a meditation on how the continued study of Scripture and pursuit of divine wisdom are still inadequate for attaining perfection, and how, as bishop, Augustine makes peace with his imperfections. It is drenched in language from the Bible and is a work of great force and artistry.